Hello and welcome to another episode of Killer Ant Reviews. Today we are reviewing Orn and OX by Piers Anthony. This is the second and third book of the series. I actually never read the first one. I got these through a book pack. I'm not sure if I even have the first one. So if I do, I'll probably review it. Overall, I definitely have mixed feelings on this series. I know Piers Anthony was a popular sci-fi fantasy writer who was very prolific, and overall what I think is the second book is definitely much better than the third one. But I like to always review the covers. While it is kind of like a bland reddish color, I definitely love the crash ship, the Orn, the mantis, and the dinosaur. Basically it sets up what happens in the book, which is basically three explorers crash land with the mantas from the previous book onto the planet. The book definitely catches you up, so you don't feel lost, because I actually ended up reading this first over this, and it catches you up pretty well. And basically their entire thing is based on the planet, while there's also a secondary story of Orn, who basically is going in for survival and trying to find a mate. What I think is I actually think that Orn's storyline was definitely better than the humans. It just the humans felt a little bit more boring than that, but it wasn't actually a bad book. There was a lot of cool action, suspense. Like one character who's basically kind of like the smart guy but also very weak, had to face off against a T-Rex, which I thought was pretty cool. And neither of these books are actually too long. This one's like 220, 250, so they're a decent read, not the longest. But overall, like I said, I actually did like the overall story and plot. And while the human characters can be a little bit boring, they did have some pretty cool scenes. Overall, not bad. This one, however, I did have more of an issue. It came out with kind of a smart idea where they're like in an area where it has hexaflagenge, I think, a chart, each one containing a different biome, going from forests. There's even an orchestra ran by robots, which is actually kind of unique. I love the whole idea of this, and each one, machine hive, walking plants. There's a lot of cool things. My biggest issue is OX wasn't as interesting as Orn. While Orn had several pages, OX is 1 or 2 pages, maybe even just a few. But overall, the cover is actually pretty cool. That's why I read this. I love this machine. I've never seen anything like this before. And that this actually starts out like this. They're battling it out, and whenever they shoot at it, the saw blades would kill the bullets, and he would just eat them. Yeah. My other biggest issue is it's the guy seems to just go on to hey, let's get the girl, basically fan service. That's basically what it is. It feels like an anime fan service where they try to find any kind of reason to get her without clothes on. And it just ends up being very distracting to the plot. And it feels like there's almost no reason for it. They just kept doing that, and by the last third of the book, it just ends up being a confusing mess of different things. One guy gets eaten by T-Rex, but another version of him comes out. It's wait, what is happening? He throws so much at you, it just ends up being a confusing mess, and I just ended up, when I was done with the book, I was like, what just happened? There's other characters as well, characters that were introduced from the first one, some agents. And some of those were pretty cool. But overall, I definitely enjoyed Orn more than OX. It's definitely the superior book. And this one is just like a sequel trying to like raise the stakes, but ends up just going a few steps back. So what would I rate this? Orin is definitely a good 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, I enjoyed the book. It's just that I wish the humans were a bit more interesting, but overall not bad. I actually liked it. This one, 4. Yeah. Like I said, it's like some really awesome ideas from Piers Anthony. It just gets boggled down in like the last third. It's like watching a movie where you're like, oh cool, this is awesome, what's the explanation? And they go through this like explanation that makes no sense and all this other weird stuff they throw at you at the last moment. So yeah, that's about it. If I end up somehow getting the first book of the series, I'll definitely read it. Sometimes I do try to avoid reviewing like the second or third series of a book. I know there's a couple of them that I read that I was just like, okay, I probably need to read the first one before I can properly review it, because it didn't really explain the first book at all. But this one I'm glad that he did explain in the first chapter what happened in the previous books. So if you definitely like these reviews, definitely leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, this is Killer Ant.